Italian cafe. And tonight or today, depending on which part of the world you're in, is my favorite day of the week. It is Tuesdays, so we have our young tellers, and I can see already we have representatives from India, from Nigeria, from Gaza, and probably a few other places as well. But so we're going to start off by going, because she waited all last week and then her internet died just before I was going to announce her. So to kick off our program, to start our program today, could we give a big round of applause to Hala Boston? Could you tell us a little bit about yourself before you start?
Okay, my name is Hala Boston. I'm 11 years old. I'm from Gaza. I'm a student from Gaza Jail School. My hobby is swimming and reading stories. Today, I'm coming with an interesting story. You ready? Are you ready?
We are ready.
The story is Two Friends and the Bear. Once two friends were walking through the forest. They know that anything dangerous can happen to them at any time in the forest. So they promised each other that they would remain united in any case of danger. Suddenly, they saw a large bear approaching them. One of the friends at once climbed a nearby tree, but the other one didn't know how to climb. So, being led by his common sense, he lay down on the ground breathless, pretending to be a dead man. The bear came near the man laying on the ground. It smelled in his ear, and he slowly left the place, because the bear don't touch the little creatures. Now, the friend on the tree came down and asked his friend, "Friend, what did the bear smell into your ear?" The other friend replied, "The bear advised me not to believe a false friend." Then, today, I tell you the story because I think if we trust each other from the very beginning, there will be no conflict at all. The end.
John, you're muted. You're muted. Hala, that was fantastic. Thank you very much. And thanks to your teacher, Sahar.
Right. So, Hala, thank you. David said what I was going to say. Now, next, because she has an exam in the morning, we have to get Yasname on and get her away so she can get to her exam. Yasname, are you ready?
Hi, my name is Faryal. I'm 11 years old. I live in Gaza. My school is Gaza Brookville. Today I will read beautiful story. Start.
Please start.
The ant and the dove. One hot day, an ant was searching for some water. While making her way up, slipped and fell into the water. The dove saved her by plucked off a leaf and dropped it into the water. The ant climbed up there. So it carried her safely to dry ground. Just at a time, a hunter nearby was throwing out his net toward the dove, hoping to trap it. Was throwing out his net toward the dove, and the ant climbed up there in the hill. The ant quickly bit him there. The hunter towed his net. Then the dove fly away. The end.
Good job.
Fantastic. Fantastic. It is so good having two new tellers on from Gaza. We love that.
I love that story, Ferial. I haven't heard that particular version before, the ant and the pigeon, or the dove. It's wonderful.
Right. So now we will go from Gaza to into Punjab. Jasname is she has an exam in the morning, so she's trying to get some sleep, but she still wants to tell her stories. So
no, I'm also having exams on
so
morning
you will,
and
for
evening.
Erica, you will follow Jasname.
Okay.
Okay, Jasname, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you. Hello everyone, my name is Jasmine and today I'm going to tell you a story from Panchtantra. The name of my story is The Holy Snake. Long ago, in a small village, lived a man named Vishnu Datta. He was a poor farmer but very hard working. He had a son named Soma Datta. He was always asking for money and was very greedy. And Vishnu Datta always said, "Be satisfied with what you have, my son." One day, Vishnu Datta was resting in his field after work. Suddenly, he noticed something slithering under a big banyan tree. That was a snake. A snake? On seeing Vishnu Datta, the snake coiled itself and sat with raised hood. It looked so calm and peaceful. It may be a deity, said Vishnu Datta. He brought a bowl of milk from his house and offered it to the snake. Next morning, when Vishnu Datta came to collect that beautiful bowl in which the milk was there, he found a gold coin in that bowl. "I am sure this is a holy snake," said Vishnu Datta. After that, it became regular. Vishnu Datta gave one bowl of milk, and in return, he used to get a golden coin each time. And so this made Vishnu Datta a rich man. Once, while Vishnu Datta was away on his trip, his son Somdatta had to keep the bowl of milk near the snake. He thought, "I guess there is a treasure of gold in the snake, and if I kill the snake, I will get many coins and be rich in a while." With gold on his mind, Somdatta tried to kill the snake, but the snake killed Somdatta. It bit Somdatta and managed to escape. When Vishnudatta returned, his wife told him everything. So he said, "I always warned you against greed," said Vishnudatta to his son. Then he ran towards the holy snake with folded hands. He asked for forgiveness and offered the milk. But this time the snake didn't accept it. "I spared your son's life because of your kindness, but you will have to pay for his greed. I shall not help you anymore," said the snake, and disappeared. Thank you.
What a wonderful story about greed. Thank you, Yasnami. Now we stay in India. We go further south and we'll go to Erica. And before we do that, David, can you see anyone else from Gaza who needs to?
Yes, I can see Mysoon, who told the story last week, and you are Heba's student as well. So it's lovely to see you back, Mysoon.
So we'll go, the order will be Erica next, then Masoon, because I know there's internet problems sometimes with Gaza.
John, and there's another person, I'm not sure who it is, called with the name Ragad Tolan. Are you a student? Are you a young storyteller? Ragad Tolan? Okay. Oh, and John Malak is just coming, who's another student of Heber's, and Heber asked me to introduce Mysoon and Malak.
So we'll go Erica, Masoon, Malik, and then Princess D. Will you be ready then? Okay. So Erica, big round of applause. Erica, the floor is yours.
Thank you, everyone. My name is Erika, and I am 9 years old, and my story name is The Witches. Once upon a time, there was a kid named Mike. He had in his family, there were him, his mom, and his dad. One day, the mother and father and Mike were going in a car to their grandmother's house. But accidentally, Mike's mother and father got killed in an accident, and Mike cried loudly. Then police came, and he have brought Mike to his grandmother's house, and he ran towards his grandmother and hugged her tightly and cried. His grandmother said that don't worry, my child, don't worry. I am with you. Either I live or die, I will be with you always, and your mother and father. And then Mike stopped crying. Then Mike asked a question to his grandmother. Grandmother, does my mother and father from Norway? So grandmother said, yes, my dear child, yes, my darling, but you are also from Norway, but actually you are born in England and you are going to an English school. But then he said that, grandmother, my mother and father died, and I can't go to England alone, so I want to stay with you here. But grandmother said, no, you have to go there because there is your school, and you can't miss your any class from your schools. But Mike was not ready to go. And then his grandmother told him a real story of witches. That, come here, darling, sit down and listen to me carefully. Do you know, in Norway, there are so many witches that you will forget counting. They don't have nails, they have fingers like cats' claws, and they wore gloves so that kids can't recognize them that they are a witch. And then they wear a mask so that they look like an ordinary woman. And they have no toe. They are tourists, and they have a square foot like the toes are cut by a sharpened knife. And Mike said, really, grandmother? Is it true? It is absolutely true, grandmother said. And witches can disappear a kid. And do you know, their parents can eat their own child. But Mike said, how? Nobody can do it. Not even their parents. How is this possible? Grandmother said the witches came towards the child and turned him into a hot dog so that the kid's parents can't recognize that it is their child, and they start eating and they can't remember that
That is they are eating their child. He said, ew, gross. Mike said. And then grandmother said, witches can do anything. They can make a kid into a rat and disappear from all over the earth. And Mike said, oh no, mother. Oh no, grandmama, tell me more. My grandmother said, Mike, it's time to go to your bed. Go to sleep, and tomorrow I will tell you everything. So Mike went to his bed and slept. Then at the morning, he called his grandmother. Grandmama, are you there? Then grandmother came towards him and said, what happened, my darling? And then Mike said, grandmama, tell me about more witches. Then grandmother said, give me a moment. First, eat your breakfast, then I will tell you more about these crazy witches. Then Mike and grandmother have ate their breakfast, and then Mike sit down and listen to his grandmother. But grandmother and then his grandmother said that the witches are very dangerous. And when I was a small kid like you, I also had a friend. But we were taking the tubs of full of waters and going to our houses. Then I called my friend that, come faster. You can't be that slow. Then when the grandmother saw behind, she saw that there wasn't a friend. Nobody was there. Then there was a train. She saw between the train a lady was a very weird lady was giving a toffee to her friend. And grandmother said that moment was the scariest moment in my life. And when the next morning at that year when she was small, she went to her friend's house and called, are you there? Are you there? When her friend went out, she wasn't a friend. She was a chicken. She turned into a hen. And her mother and father said, Dad, where is my child? Do you know? But grandmother said, no, I don't know, because they don't want to make them in attention. So then the grandmother told everything. And Mike said, how is this even possible? How you can do it? How it happened, grandmama? Then the grandmama said, I don't know, but the witch was the scariest witch ever. And then when Mike went inside his room, he saw that at the window somebody is flying. And she was knocking the door. And she was also wearing gloves. And shoes and a hat. And he said, who are you? And how you came to my window? So she said, actually, she was a witch. But she didn't want to tell him that she was a witch. And then she gave a toffee to him. But when he was going to take the toffee, a snake came towards her hand and said, look how cute my snake is. If you would take this toffee, I will also give this snake to you. Do you want this snake? But Mike was scared and said, no. And he shouted, grandmama, somebody is there, help me, he cried. And grandmama ran
And when she saw that, and Mike saw, the lady was vanished. And then Mike said, Grandmama, I'm saying truly that there was a lady outside my window. And Grandmama said, oh no, I think she is a witch. We have to run from this house now. Otherwise, our house is under the witch's eyes. And then they shifted to a hotel. And the hotel was very big and had so many rooms. You can't count them. And then they have take one room. And then one day, when Mike was playing in the ballroom, he saw that a group of ladies were going inside this room. And then he hid behind the big screen and sit quietly and saw the ladies. And it looked like that they were ordinary ladies like humans. And when they said, there came a lady who was very big, and the height will be too much. And he said that she is too big and so tall. And then he saw her face, he saw that she is so pretty. And when she hold her face and she upped her mask, her face was frightened, like here were cuts, and there were no eyes. And Mike was frightened and said, oh no, what is this? What I am watching? Oh no! But he didn't shout it because actually all the group of the women were the group of witches. Said, oh no, what should I do? I wish there was a door behind the big screen so that I can escape. But there was no door. And the doors of the ballroom were locked. And then the Grand High Witch said, you may remove your gloves. So every witch removed their gloves. You may remove your shoes. Every witch removed shoes. You may remove your wigs. They removed their wigs. And they all were witches. And then Mike laughed a little bit because the Grand High Witch was not able to pronounce the letter W. And she said that, dear witches, welcome to the audition. I am the Grand High Witch. You would know me. And here I have the most biggest meeting ever of witches. Then one witch started whispering to others' ears that, Grand High Witch, so weird. I don't want to do this. I don't want to attend this. Then mistakenly the Grand High Witch heard everything what that witch said. Said, how dare you to speak like this? Speak these words to me. The witch said, no, my grandness, I didn't say anything, not even one word. Then Grand High Witch, don't run. I told you, and now I will banish you. And she said, abracadabra, giri giri choo. And the witch was vanished. And then the Grand High Witch said that she will be not able to see us forever. And all the witches were there and sit quietly, and there was again the silence. And the Mike was also frightened at what I am doing here. I can't escape. What should I do? Everything was frightened. And when the witches started their hallway, the Mike by mistakenly Mike Mike coughs. Said, "Oh no, I cough." And the grand high witch heard everything. Who was coughing? And she smelled the scent of the mic. And the mic was found by the grand high witch. And she said, "Dad, who is this silly kid? I'm gonna kill this kid." No, I'm not gonna kill this kid. I'm making him a rat and banishing him forever from this world. And then the mic said, no, you grandness, please don't make me a rat. Don't make me vanish. I'm the only one in the kid. I don't have parents. There's only my grandmother. And my grandmother is everything. Please don't. But the grandmother would still listen. And she turned Mike into a rat. A rat. And then Mike was tiny, but then he ran like a fastest car ever. And then the grand high witch was not able to vanish him, but able to make him a rat. And he was very scared, and he ran to his mother. His grandmother was scared. "Ah, what is this?" So he shouted that, "Grandmama, it's me, Mike." And grandmother said, "Oh no, who did this to you?" The Mike said that the grand high witch did this to me. Then grandmother said, "Oh no, I know a potion, but the witches have that potion, and we have to get it to make you completely like normal." And then they decided to plan, and grandmother's plan was worked, and the witches were scared and ran away and said, we will never frighten the kid again. Please forgive us." But all the witches and the grand high witch turned into a rat, but very dangerous rat who bites. But all the witches ran away, and the grand high witch was scared and ran away. Then the Mike turned into a normal kid, and then the grandmother and Mike lived happily. The end. Thank you.
Wow, Erica, that was amazing. And
Thank you,
if
John.
you can remember a whole story like that
Good job.
and just tell it, you will have no problem in your exam tomorrow. I remember a few months ago when you came on this program and you read from a book and you maybe did a very short story. Now you are doing epics from out of your head. Amazing. Another round of applause for Erica. Right.
Thank you,
Now,
everybody. Thank you, John.
Before we get to Princess D, because I know she's got an exam in a couple of days, but we must get through the remaining Gaza because their internet sometimes disappears. So, Maysoon, would you love to tell us a story?
Now my network is stable.
Yeah. Hello, my name is Maysoon. Today I want to tell you a story that I wrote it. So I hope to enjoy with it. Let's start. In one of the beautiful green fields with its mature trees, there was a bright white rabbit enjoying his life, full of eating carrots and running with his friends. But this rabbit was not like his rabbit friends. He was a muscular rabbit. And one day, in some of the part of the forest near the rabbit's dwelling, there was a hunter lost in the vast green forest, wondering where he had gone and how to get back. As he walked wherever his foot thrown him, he heard some he heard some rustling coming from behind of some bushes. His curious soul urged him to survey, and with careful steps pounce on the muscular rabbit, cutting his happiness rope with eating carrots. And here the hunter stopped. And here the stunned face of the hunter rose. How is this rabbit created? Oh my God, how amazing is it? The hunter started conversing with himself and said, oh look, I was lost and I didn't know where to go, except the fate threw this rabbit to me. Really, it's amazing the fate. It's amazing the fate. If I presented this rabbit to my idiot manager and persuaded him to do a festival for him and thus spread our industry, my monthly salary and I will live a beautiful life with money. The greedy hunter made up his mind and tightened his grip on the rabbit firmly so that it would not escape. He walked optimistically about it coming out of the forest, and the poor rabbit trying to escape from his rough grip, but to no avail. While the hunter struts and laughs like idiots, and the rabbit tries to escape and risks a strong sounds come from the sky, accompanied by a terrible yellow light that made the hunter very afraid and didn't know what to do. And the rabbit was filled with amazement at what he saw before his eyes. It is a escape craft that descends from the sky. Oh my God, really there are aliens? Here the hunter started running and whether he was crazy or becoming with the dead. And he kept running far into the forest and screaming, not knowing that the rabbit that would increase his salary left him behind out of his fright. Aliens with oval green heads and strange eyes landed from their flying saucer, armed with funny laser weapons. The muscular rabbit looks in amazement, not knowing what to say. A funny alien voice came from one of the passengers of that vehicle saying, We know you are stunned, but don't worry, just ride with us. We are friends with you. Here is a rabbit with muscles with aliens heading to the moon. The flying saucer landed and the Wonder Rabbit took its first steps on the surface of the moon. Aliens Master, we've been watching you since you were born, and because you're special from the other rabbits, we've been keeping in mind that one day people will do what the hunter did for you, and we've been waiting impatiently for the right day to take you here. Bright Muscle Pony? Really, thank you. You saved me, but I want my friends here with me. I don't want them to be eaten or imprisoned. Excuse Mr. Rabbit with muscles. Thus the rabbit left with his friends running in the wilds of the moon. And this is the story of the fairy tale, Rabbits Live on the Moon. The end.
Brilliant. And I see Solly has joined us. So you'll be on after Elsa. But for now, let's stay in Gaza and go to Malak, and Divija follow after Malak. So Malak, Suha, please tell us a story.
Hello, I'm Malak and I have 13 years old and I'm from Palestine. Today I will tell you a beautiful story. Let's start. Once upon a time, there were two oxen. They were very good friends. They ate and played together. One day they were eating when the lion saw them. He was hungry and he said, they look good to eat. He wanted to eat them. The lion had idea. The lion spoke in a quiet voice to the black ox while the brown ox was eating. The lion said to the black ox, "Who is stronger?" And the black ox said, "We are both strong." The lion wanted to eat the oxen, but the two oxen together were very strong. He couldn't fight them together. The lion spoke to the brown ox while the black ox was eating. The lion told the same story to the brown ox, and the brown ox said, "I'm stronger than the black ox. I always help him." The lion wanted the oxen to argue and fight. The lion was clever. The lion watched the oxen while they were fighting. The brown ox said to the black ox, "You are not stronger than me. Who do you think you are?" And the black ox said, "I'm the strongest. Come and get me." And the lion said, "Oh, good. They are fighting and both are getting tired." The oxen were getting tired when the lion attacked the brown ox. The black ox had no friends. He was not strong. The lion attacked him while he was sleeping. The lion ate the black ox. Thanks for listening. I'm finished.
Right.
And I want to say something. I learned from this story is unity is power and disunity is weakness. Thanks.
Thank you, and a great lesson. Thank you, Malak. Now, Princess Divija has been sitting, waiting patiently. She has an exam on the 20th. That's in 2 days' time. Or no, or she's had one on the. Have you had your exam?
It started on 16 September. It will end on 30 September. Hooray!
Right. So to celebrate your nearly finishing of your exams, can you tell us a story, Divija?
अब मेरी टर्न होगी.
Are you having internet problems? While we're hoping Divija comes back, it happens regularly with people wait, and then when it comes their turn, the internet gives up. But for now, Hala Karam, would you care to tell us a story?
Okay, hello. I'm Hala Karam. My story is about it's about a lying.
Please tell us the story.
Okay. Jack had learned from his friend that lying is the easiest way out of any situation. So he became fond of lying and enjoyed in telling small lies. When his parents called him and warned him against telling lies, he assured them of saying, lies never harm anyone. Jack's father decided to explain to him why lying is bad. One evening, Jack and his father were walking down the street with some businesses. Just then, they saw a car rammed into a bookstore. Jack's father asking a man what happened and he replied, the car driver lied to his father and that he could say without spectacles. They put warning in the car when the accident happened. The father is seriously hurt. I'm sure the boy reversed ever lying. Jack's father looked at Jack and said, Jack, a lie is dangerous. It can hurt people. Jack realized the hurt caused a lie and stop it lying. This is my story.
Thank you, Hala.
Thank you.
And a great story it is. Now, Davija, is your internet back yet? Even if you're just on sound. Oh, there we are. Davija, please tell us your story.
Yes. Back. Hello everyone, I'm Divija and I live in India. Now, a question came in your mind that where in India? Where is India? And where in India? Where is India? At the central, towards the north. And where in India? I live in Varanasi. So let's get started with our story. Once upon a time, there lived a boy. His name was Subbu. He traveled with his camel and he was traveling since 2 days with his camel. And suddenly his camel fell down on the ground and he was very tired. The boy Subbu started mixing some leaves and then he prepared a drink for his camel. Although the camel was very tired, so nothing happened to the camel. So then he had to continue his journey all alone. And then the camel was sleeping. And then the next day, what happened? He met two animals. One was the bear and the second was the pig. And then the bear and the camel started. And then the camel told what incident happened. And then the bear all the three became friends and ate food, danced together, lived together, ate food together, and then what happened was the bear ordered the pig and the camel that go anywhere and bring me food because I'm very much hungry. So then the camel and the pig went at the same direction for collecting food, but they did not got any food. So then the bear said, "What happened to you all? Where is my food? I want the food and I want to eat the food because I am so much hungry. Hungry, hungry, hungry. I want to eat food. 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 Food, food, food. Where is my food?" And then the pig said, "Eat me." Because the the camel and the bear, you're a brown color and I'm only of pink color. So what is my need? You can kill and eat me. And then the camel replied that, "No, no, 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 pig. You both are so much close friends. You're close friends, so that means you have to eat me, Yuki, because the bear is hungry." So then the camel said that. As soon as the camel said that, the pig and the bear jumped and punched the camel, and then the camel was dead and then ate. The moral of the story was, the people who are cunning, they will always complete their wicked plans.
I'll have to watch my back now, Davija. A great story. Now I think we've been around Gaza and Palestine, and I think we've done a great tour of India. So we go way down south now. Going down south with the
What moral? The one more. What moral do means like I had shared one moral to you. Also, from your side, what moral of the story should be?
what should we take from that?
For the story means like what you learn from the story. You can share your own moral.
Right. Well, I don't want to say don't trust your friends, but not every friend who claims to be a friend is a friend. Maybe.
Yes.
Okay.
I just appreciated the bare truth in this story.
Oh.
Hey, you so. Oh, I messed that up. I was supposed to say Sal. Never mind.
I have the same teddy like Mike sir have. Like when I was narrating the story, he showed some kind of unicorn, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's a camel. It's another
Mike
camel.
has too much free time on his hands, not complaining.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. When we've finished playing with our toys, children.
I didn't know camels mooed.
Okay.
I don't play with toys. I just have kept it in my cupboard for
No, I think Divija,
Not you, princess.
I think you use your toys magnificently. There are people as they get older regress into their childhood. I'm not pointing any names here, but thank you, Divija, for that story. I'm now going down to Nigeria, to Rayana and Radia. Are you there? Sisters, are you with us? Can you tell us a story or two?
Yes.
Thank you. You may start.
Unmute.
Oh. I'm going to be telling a story first, and My story is about a giraffe called Gerald. So Gerald was a tall giraffe whose neck was long and slim, but his knees were awfully bandy and his legs were rather thin. He was very good at standing still and munching shoots off trees, but when he tried to run around, he buckled at the knees. Now, every year in Africa, they hold the jungle dance, where every single animal turns up to skip and prance. And this year, when the day arrived, poor Gerald felt so bad. He felt so bad because when it came to dancing, he was really very bad. The warthogs started waltzing, the rhinos rocked and rolled, the lions danced a tango, which was elegant and bold. The chimps all did a cha-cha with a very Latin feel, and 8 baboons then teamed up for a splendid Scottish reel. Gerald swallowed bravely as he walked towards the floor, but the lions saw him coming, and they soon began to roar. Ha 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 ha. Hey, look at clumsy Gerald. The animals all laughed. Giraffes can't dance, you silly fool. Oh, Gerald, don't be daft. Gerald simply froze. He was rooted to the spot. They're right, he thought. I'm useless. Oh, I feel such a clot. So he crept off from the dance floor and he started walking home. He'd never felt so sad before, so sad and so alone. Then he found a little clearing in the sky and he looked up. The moon can be so beautiful, he whispered with a sigh. Excuse me, coughed a cricket who'd seen Gerald earlier on. But sometimes, when you're different, you just need a different song. Listen to the swaying of the grass. Listen to the trees. To me, the sweetest music is those branches in the breeze. So imagine that lovely moon is playing just for you. Everything makes music if you really want it to. With that, the cricket smiled and picked up his violin. Then Gerald felt his body do the most amazing thing. His hooves started shuffling, making circles on the ground. His neck was gently swaying, and his tail was swishing round. He threw his arms up sideways and he swung them everywhere. Then he did a backward somersault and leaped up in the air. Gerald felt so wonderful. His mouth was open wide. I'm dancing. Yes, I'm dancing. I am dancing, Gerald cried. Then one by one, each animal who'd been there at the dance arrived while Gerald boogied on and watched him quite entranced. They shouted, "It's a miracle! We must be in a dream. Gerald's the best dancer that we've ever seen. How is it you can dance like that? Please, Gerald, tell us how." But Gerald simply twizzled round and finished with a bow. Then he raised his head up and looked at the moon and the stars above. "We all can dance," he said, "when we find the music that we love." Thank you.
I love that. And
Wow.
I was once at the Sharjah Children's Book Festival with Guy Parker, who did the illustrations, all those pictures in Giraffes Can't Dance. We traveled. We were in Sharjah and Dubai together. Has your sister got a story for us?
Yes.
Yeah, well, inevitably, yes. Well, can we hear it? That was a beautiful recitation, by the way. Beautiful.
Can I just ask who made up that poem?
No, it's from a book, Giraffes Can't Dance.
Who wrote it? Do you know?
Giles Andrea something, or yeah, something like that.
Thank you.
Guy Parker's the illustrator and Andrea's the writer.
I know him.
So, have we got a story from Sister?
Yes.
Can we hear it?
The name of my story is The North Wind and the Sun. All the time, the north wind and the sun were arguing. They argued all day of who was stronger. I am stronger. No thing can survive without me. I'm stronger. I can make the grass and the wind move. So one day, they wanted to hold a competition. The north wind said, "See that man over there? The person who can take the man's coat off is the one who's stronger." The sun agreed on this. It was the wind's turn first. The sun hid in a cloud, and then the north wind as he got colder, and as the man got colder and colder, the man kept hugging his coat. When the north wind finally gave up, the sun came out of its hiding place and started to shine brightly. As he shined, the man unbuttoned his coat, but as he shined more and more and more, the man finally took off his coat, and then it was the sun. The sun won the competition, and they never argued again. The end.
Well, and I tell you what is getting stronger is your storytelling. That was a wonderful telling just then. Big round of applause for the sisters. Then we go north now. North. And then we'll go west. We're going to Edinburgh, I think. Are you in your, I can see, yeah, you look, that looks like a university room. So, so with those cupboards for at least putting two things in behind you. So you're in halls, and so a round of applause for Elsa Dixon, who joins us from her university halls in Edinburgh.
Hello, I've loved everybody's stories so far. They've been amazing. I'm going to try out a story that is a very new story. I heard it at the weekend, so I am going to give it a go. I have my harp with me now. I also got my harp at the weekend, back from Aberdeenshire, and I haven't really done much with it in the story, but we're going to go and see what happens, because I think this might be fun, and this is a place for trying new things. So. upon a time, a long, long time ago, when my grandfather's great-grandfather was still just a wee boy, there lived a family. And the family lived in Orkney, the small archipelago of islands just to the north of Scotland. If you take the ferry from the very north tip and keep going for about 60 miles, you'll see them rising out of the water. And this girl, she was called Annie Norn. And she was a lovely girl. She was kind, she was helpful, and she was a dreamer. She liked wandering about and thinking and making up stories in her head. And this particular autumn day, when the autumn mists, the Har, was rising in and rolling onto the beaches, Annie was sent down to the seashore with a bucket of water, because Annie's family was quite poor. So what they did when they wanted to boil potatoes, would they go and they'd get a bucket of seawater and they'd boil the potatoes in that, so they didn't have to waste any salt. So Annie was sent down to the water's edge with her great big bucket, and she scooped up the water and was wandering back, dreaming. But she never returned home. Her family thought she must have just got a bit lost inside her head, or lost on the path, and after an hour or so they started to look for her. But she was nowhere to be seen, and they called out all the people from the village, and they looked for her high and low, all over the hills of Orkney, but she was nowhere to be seen. And people got out their boats and started sailing around the island, seeing if she might have swum out and got trapped in the rocks, but no, she wasn't anywhere. And the months passed, the years passed, the seasons turned, until 20 years had passed. 20 long, long years. And Willie Norn, Annie's cousin, was out sailing. He was a sailor, he was a merchant sailor, and he sailed in a great big ship that took goods right around the world, and he sailed from Orkney to Norway to London and right across the globe sometimes. And he was sailing along, and the wind was blowing behind the sails, and the crew were having the time of their lives, when suddenly the wind picked up. The wind got stronger and stronger, and the ship began to buck beneath the waves, above the waves, and got faster and faster, and they started trying to furl the sails, they started trying to calm the ship down, but the wind got stronger and stronger, and rain began to lash down, and thunder and lightning began to strike and roar, and soon the sails were shredding beneath the wind. And they were lost. They'd been blown off course, and the wind was still howling, and the rain was plummeting down, and the ship was about to break apart, when suddenly the storm stopped. It was calm, and the sails hung limp and ragged from the mast. But they still didn't know where they were. A thick fog, the thickest fog they'd ever seen, surrounded the boat, great white banks of grey mist, and they couldn't see the stars to navigate by. They couldn't see the sun. They couldn't see the moon. They couldn't tell if it was night or day. And they were drifting, but they didn't know if they were drifting north or east or south or west. And they stayed like that for, it could have been a day, it could have been two, it could easily have been a week. And the food was beginning to run low. I don't know if you've been around many hungry sailors, but they eat a lot, and they were getting very hungry, and the water was running low, and their spirits were definitely running low. And it must have been a few days when Willie Norn, who was sitting at the head of the boat, noticed a dark shape moving towards them. A dark shape that got closer and closer and closer. And it was a boat. It was a small boat and it was sailing towards them. And there was somebody rowing in the boat. And it got closer and he couldn't quite make out it in the mist. But it drew up next to the ship and out jumped the figure and started to climb up the boat and landed on the deck. "Hello, Willie," said the figure. "It's nice to see you again." It was Annie. She stood before him, and although 20 years had passed, Willie still recognized his cousin Annie. She had her long brown hair and her smile that was not quite like anyone else's. "If blood wasn't thicker than water, you wouldn't see me today," said Annie, "but you're my cousin, so I guess I have to get you out of this." "What are you all doing?" she said to the crew, who were staring at her. "You better get to work. You better get those sails out." And soon everyone was at it. They were getting the sails out. They were hauling up the anchors. They were sorting the ship out. And Annie pushed the skipper out of the way and took the wheel herself. And as soon as she held the wheel in her hands, a wind began to blow. The wind that had not been there for so many days, and it began to blow lightly at first, just blowing the tendrils of her hair out and filling the sails just the littlest bit, but then it began to blow harder until a fine breeze was pushing them through the mist, and Annie steered them. Even though they couldn't see where they were going, there were the thick banks of fog on either side. They were sailing through a cloud, it seemed. But she kept at it, steering them straight, until a light appeared out of the mist, a light that grew bigger and yellower and brighter the further and further they moved, until they burst through the banks of cloud. And before them was an island, a sunlit island, a wonderful island that rose out of the water, and there were rivers and there were trees and there were children playing on the sand, and there were wonderful houses, and there was music in the air, and there were birds, and the like of which the sailors had never seen before. And Annie said, "Welcome, welcome to the land of the Finn people." The Finn people are people who live almost like us. They seem to live beyond the veil. They inhabit the same world, but you never quite meet them. And people in Orkney, because they're so far up north perhaps, have said they've seen them, have said they've met them, have said their island floats in and out and around and about when the mists roll in. But this was the first time any of the sailors had ever even seen a glimpse of the Finn Isle, and there it was, laid out in the water before them. And the boat anchored in the harbour, and soon all the sailing men were away in shore, and they were eating in Annie's house. And all the food they ate, it tasted and looked almost like the food they'd have at home, but it was richer and warmer and saltier and sweeter. It was just the most magnificent thing, and when they slept that night, they slept better than they had any night of their lives. And the next morning they awoke to spend the most magical day on the island, roaming over the hills, and that night they were called to a feasting house, a great long house, where all the Finn folk of the island, strange people, taller than normal people perhaps, with a slight green sheen to their skin and long hair that seemed to fan out as if it was rolling in the water, and strange voices that sounded human. But if you listened closely, it sounded almost like the voice of a seal or a gull or the waves itself. And they sat and they ate. And they had the most magical night, and there was dancing and there was laughter. And Annie introduced them to her husband. She was married to the chief of the Finn folk, a tall, muscled man with rolling brown hair and kind brown eyes. And they could see that there was no chance Annie was going to come back with them to Orkney. She was definitely happy here. And then Willie said, "Well, it's been very kind of you, Annie, and we've enjoyed ourselves, and it's been nice to see where you've been all this years. But do you think we could be heading home sometime? I'd quite like to get back. And Annie said, "Oh, that's fine. I can send you back this very night, and I will, as a gift, I will give you a Finn man to escort you, to pilot you through the fog and back to your home." And she took a necklace from her pocket. And she said, "I've been keeping up with the news at home, and I've heard that you're going out with a nice young lass called Mary, and I think if you give her this necklace, then I don't think a marriage will be a long wait away." So Willie pocketed the necklace, thanked his sister, and they left. They went back onto the ship, and a Finn man came onto the ship with them, their pilot. And he came down into the deck, and he noticed a table sitting on the deck, and on the table were a pack of cards, all laid out and ready to play. They'd been playing before Annie jumped in the fog. And he said, "I've always wanted to know how cards were played. I've heard tell of them, but you don't have cards in the Finland. Can you show me?" Aye, said Willie. And he and the men sat round the table, and they began to deal out the cards, and they were playing a few tricks, but they hadn't played 5, 6 cards until, one by one, they fell asleep on the card table. And the boat silently moved on through the fog. And when the sailors awoke, they were anchored in Scapa Flow, just outside the Orkney Islands, and they could see the smoke of their home rising in the wind. And in his pocket, Willie still had the necklace his cousin had given him. And I don't know if the rest of the village believed them when they told the story of the Finn folk, but I do know that Willie was soon married to Mary, and they had lots and lots of very lovely children who probably their descendants still live in Orkney to this day. And I'm hoping that when I go up to Orkney, hopefully soon, if I look into the autumn mists, I might see an island rising out. And maybe I might meet a Finn folk myself. And that is the story of Annie Norn and the Finn folk.
That was magnificent. I'm hoping in a future week that we have some students from Argentina joining us. I'll have to take away the 18 top thing, but they'd be much happier in this group than things. So, but right now we're leaving Scotland. We're staying in the United Kingdom for as long as it is the United Kingdom, and we're moving over. We're going down south and west to Wales, and in his magnificent hat, which it's superior to any hat that I have seen in recent history. We have Solly. Have your story for us, Solly.
Thank you. Okay, so hello, I'm Solly. My story is called The Very Mean King, and it's a Kenyan story. There was once a very mean king who sat on his throne all day long. He laughed in a wicked way. When he was not laughing, he was rubbing his hands together. Rub, rub, rub. When he was not rubbing his hands together, he was stamping his feet. Stamp, stamp, stamp. And when he was not stamping his feet, he was growling. Growl, growl, growl. He never smiled. He never laughed. He never danced. And because he never smiled, laughed, or danced, he never allowed his people to smile, laugh, or dance. In fact, he had some very mean-looking guards who snarled and hissed all day. Snarl, snarl, hiss, hiss. And if the very mean king caught anyone smiling, laughing, or dancing, he would order his very mean-looking guards to whip the people. Whip, whip, whip. The people were sad all the time. and they were made to work in the very mean king's fields all day long under the burning sun. Sometimes the very mean king would not let the people stop or rest or give them anything to eat. And when the people begged him for food, what do you think? The very mean king said no. The very mean king said no in a very loud voice. What a very mean king. One day, the very mean king slept after an enormous lunch. Snore, snore, snore. And the guards guarded, looking as mean as ever. Up in the sky there lived a sparrow who had been watching the earth for a long time. She had seen how meanly the very mean king treated his people. So she decided it was time for the very mean king to be taught a lesson. So from its very special secret place amongst the clouds, she took the rattle of punishment and flew down to the earth. She cast a very special secret spell that made her invisible. As she flew, the rattle began to play beautiful music. And when the people heard the music, they instantly stopped what they were doing. They found their lips began to twitch, and their feet began to tingle, and their hips began to wriggle. And before they could stop themselves, they were smiling, laughing, and dancing. They could not stop. They smiled and smiled, they laughed and laughed, they danced and danced all over the very mean king's fields. Well, the smiling, laughing, and dancing woke up the very mean king. When he looked out of his window, he saw what the people were doing, and he sent his mean-looking guards to stop them. But no sooner had the guards arrived in the fields, that they too began to smile, laugh, and dance. So the very mean king went himself and in a loud voice shouted, "Stop!" He shouted so loud it shook the very foundations of the earth. The sparrows stopped playing, and everybody stopped smiling and laughing and dancing. They ran away and hid. The very mean king looked at his fields. They were all trampled and completely ruined. This time he roared a huge roar. And he was about to call out his army to capture the people when the sparrow appeared before him and said, "You have been a very mean king, and you will be punished." And she took the rattle of punishment. And this time only the very mean king smiled, laughed, or danced. He smiled, laughed, and danced for 3 days and 3 nights until he begged the sparrow to stop. He fell on the ground exhausted. The people came out of their hiding places and waited. And the very mean king got up and looked at his people. He remembered how happy they had seemed when they smiled, laughed, and danced. He bowed his head in shame. Then, in a very kingly voice, he said, "My people, I have been a very mean king. From now on, I'm going to be a good king." So he gave his people food, and they smiled, laughed, and danced, and so did his guards, for they were getting a little tired of hissing and snarling every day, and rather enjoyed laughing, singing, and dancing in the fields. The sparrow flew away, taking with her the magic rattle of punishment, placing it back in the special secret place. But who knows when she might come back again, and who will dance the special magic dance?
Solly, that was read wonderfully. And in your own time over future weeks, maybe just take a short story.
Yeah.
And tell it without the book. Maybe just make a few notes to get in your head, just some bullet points that you can but don't be too ambitious. So you can tell with that confidence, but your confidence is growing in the reading. It was fantastic. That was read beautifully, Solly, tonight. So another round of applause for Solly. And thank you for joining us. Please continue when you can. So this has been a great night. We've had an hour and 20 minutes, solid stories. All I'm going to do is ask young people to comment, and we won't have any comments from adults because, yeah, Babasi, and David. Heather, I don't have to tell because she's a responsible human being. Mike is sort of on the cusp. Solly, have you anything to say to the other tellers?
I really liked all the stories. They were really good. Yeah.
Thank you. Elsa, you can speak. You can speak twice as long as Babasi. So, so would you?
Sorry.
No, that was a compliment. I want to hear what you're going to say. No, Babasi, I do. I when you speak, I like listening to you as well. Honestly. But right now, I want to listen to what Elsa's got, because yeah, I'm digging a bigger hole here, Heather. Thank you. I couldn't even see the end of the spade there, but I knew what you were doing with those hands. Right. Anyway, Elsa, I would love to hear you speak.
That was a really lovely night. I loved everybody's stories. So many stories. I don't think I've heard that many stories in one sitting for ages. That was brilliant. Can't think of Solly, you've really improved from last week. Well, no, I know it's been like I missed a week, or maybe I missed 2 weeks. I can't keep a track of time. I'm living on coffee at the moment. Like, ignore everything I say. But actually don't. But since the last time I saw you, you've got so much better, and I really loved your story. Raja, and I'm really sorry, but I can't. The two sisters, you were brilliant. I haven't seen you for ages, and you were amazing, and I always love everything you do. And everybody else, you were also brilliant.
Now, so that you said everything that the adults would have said anyway, Elsa. So there's no need for us to speak. So, Rahina and Radia, have you got anything you want to say to the other tellers?
I just want to say I enjoyed the story, and I enjoyed Erica's story too, because I read a book, The Witches, was by Rodal, and it was really amazing to hear her retell it.
Thank you. Malak, you're still there. Have you got anything you want to say to the other tellers? Probably can't hear. Maysoon, have you anything you want to say to the other young tellers? We've probably got some. It's getting to that time of night where it gets a bit difficult in Gaza. I'm very impressed that you're still with us. So, for all our young tellers, and we are, this is, if you could run the world, what do we have? We've got Nigeria, we've got India, we've got Gaza, we've got Scotland, we've got Wales. How good is that? And we should just give the world to you to run, and it might still be a world in a few weeks' time. So, thank you, and thank you for bringing your people, David. I know you encourage so many people to come to this, and Ali, thank you for driving the magic carpet as always on a world scale. The global magic carpet pilot, Ali. Big round of applause. And we'll see you next. Coming up, of course, Maria Gillen on Friday, telling stories for children, and then we go straight. We've got nothing on Sunday. And then we go straight on to next Tuesday, where it'll be even more magnificent. So you just raise the bar, you people, all the time. Hala, do you want to say anything before we go to all the other tellers?
Oh, hi.
Do you want to make a comment about all the other tellers? Do you want to tell them how magnificent they were?
Yeah, it's so exactly. I love it.
Thank you. And that is that on. I think Hala has the final word. We love it. Bye bye,
Yeah.
everyone. See you next Tuesday, if not before.
Just to say, shout out to all of the people watching on Facebook, because you can't get this. It's easier to watch on Facebook sometimes than on Zoom in Gaza. Lots of lovely comments on Facebook, and thank you for joining us everywhere. Brilliant.
Thank you.
John, I need to catch up with you about the festival because I am coming. I will be there.
Okay, we'll talk. Okay, Malek, nice to see you back, and we'll see you next week. See you next week then.
Bye.
Next week.
Bye.
Bye.
To be continued. Thank you, Ali. Thank you, Dave.
Cheers, Babasi.
Until the next time, to be continued.
Hey, the numbers are up again.
Yes. I got to find the Facebook comments.
Yeah, because there's lots of kids in Gaza who are watching on Facebook. So, yeah, it's nice.
So they can see us on Facebook.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, they can watch it live without coming into the Zoom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds Zoomalicious.
But bye for now.
Until the next time. Later, Ali. Asante Sana, Rafiki Yangu. Thank you very much, my friend. See out.